Al, we are a third of the way through the big hitters from the end of January through the end of February,
Yeah,
which is,
got through
which,
one
yeah,
100-hour game.
still got a ways to go to get through all of them. But yeah, we are
Chugging along.
chugging along. Yes. Hello, welcome to this week's episode of the seasonal anime checkup OVA. It's a podcast where we have conversations about video games, anime, and manga. Hello, I'm Jared, joined as always by Doc, Al, and Lady This is
Hello.
episode 373, and we are discussing Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. There's so much wealth, it's infinite.
I mean, honestly, it is not because I was poor a lot of this game.
You're not wrong.
Ooh, the wealth was definitely not infinite when it came to the funding that I had
Oofa doofa.
for for Ichiban, not the cat, the guy.
True. Yeah, the latest game in the Like a Dragon slash Yakuza series, the ninth mainline entry, as Wikipedia states, which
Mm-hmm.
is true.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we have played through all this. It took us, I think, both of us around 100 hours to get through. They were not kidding when they
Mm-hmm.
said this was going to be a very long game.
They were not kidding. They were
Oh
correct.
boy. Yeah, we'll talk about some general thoughts and opinions, some non-spoilerly bits before we dive into spoilers. So, if you want to listen to the general stuff, you can dip out before we get into the meat and potatoes of spoilers and all that sort of stuff. So we'll give you a
Mm-hmm.
warning before we get into all of that, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, this game came out a couple weeks ago on January the 26th of 2024 for the PlayStations, the PC, and the Xboxes. And like we said, this is the newest game in the series. It is the sequel to Yakuza 7. It is a sequel to Like a Dragon Gaiden, The Man Who Erased His Name.
Is this technically the first one that I've played myself at launch?
Yes, because you played
Wait,
7 after you watched me play through like the back half of it, because you
right,
picked it up for cheap and played it then. But yeah, this would be the first one
right.
you've played yourself at launch.
Well, because I mean, like the Judgment games and everything, and Gaiden, I watched you play at launch, but
Anishin.
Anishin, yeah. But this is the first one I think that I've played on my
Mm-hmm.
own at launch. Wow, how about
Yeah.
that?
Of course, this game takes us to the far-flung place of Hawaii.
Hawaii, the United States.
Honolulu, Hawaii.
Wow.
USA, USA, USA. So yeah, you get a new location and all that sort of stuff. Get to hear a lot of people speak English, which I guess you obviously get to hear a lot of people speak English because you played with the English dub. I played with the Japanese
The
dub.
dub.
But
Yeah.
I also got to hear a lot of people speak English, so
I bet you had a bunch of people speak
which was
English while
very
you were like walking
interesting.
around. Like the dudes who yell like say a show
Yeah,
good
get that a lot.
a lot.
It was
Or they call you dip. I forgot what the other
yeah.
stuff is.
It's interesting to see like what they would like what kind of characters they would have speak English or what kind of characters they would have just speak Japanese at you. And
Hmm.
also interesting that they also just seem to grab people from the English dub and just keep them in the Japanese dub.
Oh,
Because there's definitely a point I think we talked about this where like there's a minor character you run into at some point, and that's definitely just JYB in the
yeah.
Japanese dub, and I was like, oh, huh, interesting. But then there's like other like main characters who like if they have to speak English, they're just Japanese voice actors speaking English,
Right.
and then also Japanese at the same time. So there's all that. Let's dive into the development of this game real quick.
Okay.
This game was announced in September of 2022 during the RGG Studios Summit live stream, initially named Like a Dragon 8. The first announcement trailer featured voiceover from various characters in the game, followed by the on-screen appearances of both Ichiban Kasuga and Kazuma Kiryu. Kiryu's design was a notable highlight due to the major contrast with his past appearances.
His Yunarakami
Yeah,
look, which they kind of toned down the Yunarakami-ish of it. He looked less like a boy band member, I think.
yeah.
or I just got used to it. I'm not
Probably a
sure
little bit of
which.
A, a little bit of B.
Yeah, true.
In early 2023, RGG Studio hosted a Cabaret Club Grand Prix competition in which 5 models were chosen to appear as live-action hostesses for the Cabaret Club minigame in Like a Dragon Gaiden and The Man Who Erased His Name, while the Grand Prix winner is chosen to appear as an in-game character in Infinite Wealth. Among the 5 finalists, live streamer and VTuber K-san ultimately won the Grand Prix. Her character Kay appears in a supporting capacity as a worker at the Revolve Bar, which also serves as a hangout spot for the player characters. She also does both Japanese and English voices for her character, of course.
Makes sense.
I watched her version of in the English version. She's a bit more toned down in English than she is in Japanese when you first meet her, which is interesting. But yeah, hey, good on her, getting double the paycheck there.
She's living her best life here.
She really is living her best life here.
I mean, she got paid to like be a simp for Kiryu, so like
Yep.
that's she does that for free.
I think I saw like where she was streaming the game and like her appearance in it, and she talked about how like, oh yeah, like I just like started saying things and kind of like that weren't in the script, and the director was like, oh yeah, this is fine. Yeah, we'll just keep it in. All right.
Well, and even like the text messages that she sent, she was like, "Don't tell Kiryu I said this, but like watching him do karaoke, oh my
Yep.
god." She's like, "Oh my god." I
Uh,
feel like she actually just like said these things and like, yeah, sure, we'll just put that in.
yeah. In addition to K-san, Infinite Wealth features several Japanese celebrities making in-game appearances, including MMA fighter and YouTuber Mikaro Asakura. He's the dude you do side stories for.
The side stories for I didn't
Yeah.
know he was a real person.
He's a real person. He's got like 1 million
Wow.
subscribers on YouTube.
Wow.
He fights for the Japanese MMA promotion Ryzen.
I did not know that.
TV announcer Risa Unai. She does a podcast in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Utamaru of the hip hop group Rhymester. There we go.
Rhymester. I don't
Uh,
know who that was in the game,
I don't
though.
remember either. Weather reporter Saya Hiyama and Yui Komaki. They are the 2 gals who come to Dondoko Island.
Ah,
And the TV characters Gachipin and Muko.
they're also on the
The
island.
mascots at the island.
I didn't realize they were real either.
They are very real. There was a good video they put out before the game came out of them voicing their characters in the game, and they were in the mascot suits voicing the characters.
That's good.
Which is very good.
That's good.
A second trailer premiered at the Xbox Games Showcase in 2023, teasing a new setting outside of Japan, while also confirming the new title. RGG Studio head Masayoshi Yokoyama explained the Infinite Wealth subtitle as a direct tie to the themes in the story and also as a differentiation between the international version of the game and the Japanese version, the latter of which was simply titled Ryoga Gokutoko 8. In September of 2023, RGG Studio hosted a second Summit live stream detailing the story and characters as well as gameplay features of Infinite Wealth via 2 new trailers. The studio also revealed Japanese cast members of the game and announced actors Danny Trejo and Daniel Day Kim as part of the English voice cast. So you got to hear some Danny Trejo, and then you got to also hear Johnny Gat,
I did.
which is cool.
Yeah, it was pretty legit.
In addition to the English dub for the first time in the series, a Chinese dub is also available for Infinite Wealth with karaoke songs sung in Chinese by the Chinese voice cast and lyrics shown in Chinese pinyin, which I guess is just the characters.
Makes sense.
In October 2023, RGD Studios unveiled Happy Resort Dondoko Island, a side activity featured in Infinite Wealth as part of Xbox's partner preview live stream. And then in December 2023, the studio released a trailer for the Bucket List story, noting it was a major side activity for Kiryu in Infinite Wealth. And then Infinite Wealth featured the song Ariamaru Tomi, The Invaluable, by Ringo Shina as its theme song. Yokoyama stated that Shina's music had a major influence on him during development of the story, leading him to requesting her song for inclusion in the game. Wow. On the Metacritic, this game got an 89 out of 100 for the PC and PS5 versions and a 92 out of 100 for the Xbox version. And on OpenCritic, it is at a 90 out of 100. And since release, or I guess in the first week of release, via digital and physical sales, it sold it shipped 1 million units. It's a big year for Japanese RPGs shipping 1 million units of games
Yeah, no kidding.
so far. So there's all of that. Yeah, this game is very long. There's a lot of stuff in it.
Hmm.
A lot of stuff in it. I will say they definitely improved the gameplay from 7. Like obviously 7 was just like a proof of concept in a sense of like, hey, we can do
Right.
this JRPG thing. And then here they kind of really expand upon it by like, letting you kind of move around in combat more. You have like you can
I
do
barely got stuck on stuff this time.
yeah, and you could do like back attacks and like what's the word I'm
Like
looking
fling
for?
fling people
You can
into
fling
other people.
people. Um yeah, like it just seemed a lot more just easier to use. It seemed better. There's just more like variety in terms of like the skills and abilities you can use and all that sort of stuff. There's more jobs that you're able to use and all that sort of stuff. While also like most of the jobs from the previous game return. They made the
Although
combat.
they nerfed one of them.
They did nerf one of them, but yeah, they made the combat more fun and just better to use overall.
Hmm.
Which I think is obviously something they needed to do because I think that was kind of one of the major complaints of 7 coming out of it was just like it was very basic.
It was basic, and good lord, would I get mad when I would get stuck on stuff.
Yeah,
It's like, cool, I'm just running on this fence for a minute, hoping that somebody will figure out how to get around it.
I definitely still had that happen a couple of times, but then eventually it would just be like, all right, we're just gonna warp you to out of the situation.
I had it happen a couple times, but they would warp,
Yeah,
which
just nice.
again, a huge improvement over what it was before, which is, well, you guess you live here now.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Uh, there's a bunch of side games in this game.
Hmm.
A lot of stuff. You got karaoke, of course. That is a main staple of the series, so you got to have that.
Hmm.
Um, you
Which
got
I need to talk about that at some point.
we got your darts, you got your mahjong,
They,
you got some arcade games. You got Virtual Fighter 3.
hmm.
You got Spike Out, which I had never heard of before this, but apparently this is a game made by the original creator of the Yakuza series, the Nagoshi.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Came out in 1999, 98, 99. Then of course Sega Bass Fishing, of course,
Yes, of course.
which is very good.
Man, the fact that I could ask Zhao to go play Sega Bass Fishing with me as Kiryu was like the funniest thing. I was so jazzed. I was like, let's do this. But then they didn't actually let us do it together. It was part of the story.
They really only included that just because they knew you were going to be playing this game,
I think so, honestly.
of course. And then you got some other stuff. There's the delivery mini game where you like
Hmm.
deliver food to people. Very much in the same vein as a Crazy Taxi,
Hmm.
just without the offspring, yelling at you. There's
Right.
a dating app mini game which is something.
Something.
Something, all right. There is
I
the
dated a chicken.
You did date a chicken for sure. There is the Sujimon battle stuff, which is basically just Pokemon. Like,
Yeah,
I
it's
know a
just
lot of people
Pokemon.
were talking about how they thought Pow World was, infringing on the Pokemon rights, but there are parts of this stuff that I'm just like, this is very close in terms of what you're trying to do here. Like a
Yeah.
lot of the music they use is very similar.
Yep. Like they are not shy about telling you, like, hey, this is inspired by
Yeah.
Pokemon. I was like, what?
But yeah,
Who could have seen that
I
coming?
am I'm surprised how well that works.
I was infuriated by it a few times.
Yes.
'Cause it can be difficult.
And also, it does rely on, like, if you wanted it to be easier for you, it does rely on you having good gotcha luck.
Yes, and I don't have good gacha luck ever. Wait.
But yeah, that is essentially just Pokemon. And then, of course, the big side game or side thingamajig is the
Hmm.
Dondoko Island, which is you go to an island and you make your own resort island.
It's Animal
It's
Crossing.
Animal Crossing, yes. Which is interesting. I wasn't expecting how much it was just going to be like, hey, we just give you a bunch of elements from the games and you just throw it into your island.
Yeah, Didn't expect that, honestly. It's like, here's a Popo, have fun.
It's
It's
like
like,
they took
huh?
Animal Crossing and then mixed it with Mario Maker in a
Oh my
way.
God, yeah, that makes sense.
So that was interesting. Not as much of a money maker as like the Ichiban Confectionery stuff in the previous game was. Um,
Unfortunately.
yeah, I mean you do make money through it, but it is not like you're just gonna sit there and like gain a bajillion dollars through it.
I had to go back a few times when I was like hurting for money. And then I
Right.
realized that doing the dungeons was a better way to get money.
Yeah, which that is definitely a good way to get some money, even though some of those dungeons can be
Money.
difficult.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's real rude.
Real
Um,
rude.
Curio has his own things, which we'll get into when we get into spoilers because they involve a lot of spoilers. Let's say.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of spoiled the big part of it in the trailers because, like, of course they did. Um, but like the actual side stuff, we're not gonna spoil yet.
Yeah.
Um, but I do want to talk about karaoke real quick.
Okay.
One, Anju, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Although it's very distracting. That one part of the karaoke song, I was like, oh,
The booba.
um, the booba. I was like, oh, those are swinging. Um, so that was distracting. And I felt kind of bad about it. I was like, I'm looking respectfully, question mark. Um, Karaoke in seven in English was very good. Like it sounded like it was like not professional, which is fine, but like it was good. It was a lot of fun. Um, they did not do a good job this time around.
Heck.
It's like the one thing about the dub that I'm like, oh, and honestly, it's not even on the actors. Like the actors did fine. It's on whoever did the mixing and like the editing because they put so much auto tune on that didn't need to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, why did you do that? Like they sounded fine. Um, so that was really annoying. Um, it was weird to me that there's a part where Kiryu's singing and he's singing like a cappella and you're not doing like karaoke itself essentially. And he sounded fine. He sounded like completely normal. Like obviously he's never going to be as good as the original VA when it comes to karaoke. That's just he's a singer. He's good. Um, but like he was passable. It was fine. Um, but then when you hear like the version of it that they have in the karaoke mini game, it's just like full of auto tune. It's like, why? He sounds fine. So it was such a weird choice on their part. And again, nothing on the dub actors there. That was not their fault. They did a great job on well, I would say most of them did a great job. Um, but yeah, that was a big misstep in terms of like what happened there. I don't know. Why did they decide to do so much auto tune? Wee,
Wee.
wee. So that's a bummer. Um for the most part, I switched to Japanese if I was going to do karaoke.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't for one of them, and it was one of the most ridiculous things I think I've ever experienced. Like it was funny as hell, but I don't know why any of it was happening. Um, but that was with Zhao's song, which I guess Jungi Han did the same song, but it's like this really lovely love song, and Robbie Damon's just like absolutely killing it, like destroying that song. So good. But then, then you have Kiryu doing like the backup on it, and he's like talking about buying a new dishwasher, and I'm like,
What?
bro, you good?
What?
I'm like, what is happening? Why are you talking about a dishwasher? And like the same thing happens with Ichiban's side that like when Jungi Han's in it, he's also talking about buying a new dishwasher and how like it's not the right size and that he has to go back to the store. And I'm like, what? What? So it made it very hard for me to pay attention to the actual performance because I was like, what are we talking about dishwashers for?
That's huh.
So I'm kind of curious to know like what in Japanese, like what the interjections are, what they mean, like if it's the same thing or if the dishwasher thing is just like a dub thing, like a localization.
That's a great question.
But I'm dying to know because like it honest to God sounds like Kiryu's just having like a midlife crisis in the middle of this about a dishwasher. While his buddy's just up there singing karaoke about a gal.
Just sometimes it just happens. It comes out of nowhere. You realize you need a dishwasher.
Your dishwasher broke and you need a new one, but you got the wrong size. Now you have to go back to the store.
That's
Like
real
that
anxiety.
honestly, yeah. But yeah, when I was playing that track, I was like, huh? 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 So funny. It was so weird though. Um, yeah, otherwise, like if you want it to actually sound good for the most part, you gotta go to the Japanese dub for that one. But plus, you get Anju, which is hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but all the negative about the English dub karaoke is completely on whoever did the audio mixing, not the singers themselves. Dishwasher.
Dishwashers. um, Speaking of dubs, I want to take a minute to talk about the Japanese dub.
Okay.
Um,
Anju.
I mean, he's got all the heavy hitters you would expect from the series, of course. They're here and everything. Uh,
Hmm.
we've mentioned her quite a few times. Anju Inami is in this game. She plays Chitose. If you know us, you know that she is also from Love Live Sunshine.
Chica.
Yeah, she plays Chica. She is the leader of Aqua. Um,
Kan.
she is great,
Yes.
good human being. Um,
Yes.
she does fantastic in this game. She is fantastic. It's interesting because like her Chitose voice is more just like her normal speaking voice register. But there are
Hmm.
like times when like she gets excited that like I'm like, oh, that's the Chica voice.
That's
She's
the Chica
slipping into
voice.
that. There's definitely a couple of moments in here where like you get to see her range and everything, and like see her be emotional. It's like, yeah, I've seen you be emotional before in front of like the 40,000 people in the Tokyo Dome. This tracks.
Yep.
She's great in this. I was very happy when they announced that she was in this game, and she does a
Mhm.
phenomenal job in this. Um, there's also some just like wild casting in here as well. Like the voice actor they get for Yamai is interesting because like they have to be kind of real like creepy-ish in a way just
Hmm.
because of how that character is. So they get the dude who plays Dio, which
Ah,
is I think smart, of course.
that's a good get. That's a good
Yeah.
get.
Who else? I thought the guy they got to play Bryce was interesting because like he has to speak English and Japanese
Hmm.
because of reasons we'll get into later. Um, but they got the dude who plays Amuro in Mobile Suit Gundam,
Oh,
which is an interesting choice. There's something else he's in that I was like, oh right. Oh, he's also Tuxedo Mask,
oh, you know what? I read that earlier today.
which is a wild 1-2 punch there.
So wild.
Um, yeah, so like there's some interesting little like choices they made for sure in this Japanese dub. Like it's not just like people who are like anime voice actors. There's also people who just like they just do films and stuff. Like they're just like live action actors and actresses and stuff like that.
I
So
mean, I mean, it's the same way with the English stuff. I mean, like you have Danny Trejo.
yeah. So like it's a good mix of people, and like it's still really good. So like it's not like someone comes in, it's like they're not really pulling their weight or anything. Um, but yeah, also like the gal who does Anya and Spy Families in this as a character you would not expect. So because the
Nope,
voice is
nope.
very different.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, it's very good. Anju's great.
Yeah.
That's really
Um,
what I wanted to say.
no, that's fair. And I mentioned it. I played it in the English dub, because I played seven in the English dub, and I just can't hear Ichiban as anybody but Keiji Tang. Like he is Ichiban. He's so good.
You don't want Ichiban to sound like Nishiki?
No, I don't.
What?
He sounds so good.
Yeah, he sounds so good in
Um,
Japanese as well.
I mean, like it's not anything against him.
I mean, to be fair, like anytime I went into your game to hear the English stuff, it was like, what, what, huh? Sounds so weird.
I think he's just a perfect fit for this character. Like he's so good. And I mean, for the most part, the English subcast is very good.
Yeah,
I have zero complaints about most of them. Um, the one exception that is worth noting, and it's I'm not gonna shit on him as much as everybody else did, because I'm sure he's been shit on enough already. Um, I think Young was not a good casting for this.
yeah,
Um, Also because I found out that he's kind of a shithead, or he
yeah,
used to be kind of a shithead.
yeah.
Like it seems kind of like he's more of like a I do whatever gets me clicks kind of guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, he kind of like threw his weight with some gamer gator people, and I'm like, ooh, yikes. Um,
I mean, I would say it like regardless of who they got for that role, like it's kind
it
of
was
a
it's
lose
a
lose
hard role to live
situation.
up.
Yeah.
It's very hard to live up to that. Um, because like Japanese Kiryu is so
It's
good
such an
and so
iconic voice.
iconic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think it was a miscast because he just sounds like
Bored.
he's yeah, and he doesn't sound old enough.
Yeah.
Like you can be a dude in your what 30s or whatever and you can sound older than you are. But he just
Yeah,
didn't
you can sound
sound
like
old enough.
this.
Oh my God.
Hey, it's me, cause I'm gonna cure you.
Kiryu was voiced by you like that? Um, I just think it was a miscast.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that he necessarily did like a bad job at it.
It's
I
just not
just
a good
think they
fit.
it's not a good fit. So like it wasn't like the worst thing I've ever heard, and I was fine with it, and it wasn't like enough to make me switch over. But the whole time I was like, man, it would be neat if this had like some kind of mod where you could have everybody else in English and have him in Japanese.
I'm sure that's possible if you played the PC version, most likely.
Well, I'm not gonna play the PC version,
Right, but I'm
but
saying like that's definitely a possibility.
yeah, like that's one thing that was like that would be fine. Um, but yeah, he's the one that I was like, everybody else did such a bang up job. So there's that.
Yeah.
Also, I mentioned it's like a little bit earlier. They let Jungi Han sing this time. They didn't let him sing in the last one.
I mean, they let a couple
I
people
was,
sing in this one that didn't let in the last one.
who else did they let sing that didn't let
So
sing?
when he gets a song in this game that she didn't get in the other game.
Well, yeah, but she wasn't like a playable character.
Oh, yeah. Okay, you're right. You're right.
He was a playable character and he didn't get one. And so he got one this time. I was like, yay, good for you, buddy. I'm so proud of you. Um, I was kind of bummed that Tomizawa didn't get one though.
Yeah, that's weird. I thought he had one in the demo we played, but I don't remember. Maybe I was wrong.
Yeah, I don't think he does, and it's weird because he's a vocalist for a band.
Maybe it's another weird rights issue.
That's what I'm assuming because, there's the whole like, judgment thing where
Mm-hmm.
he's also very much known as a singer.
Yeah.
But yeah, he did not get one. I was like, oh, bummer.
That's the only thing I would expect to be the reason why he wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Which is weird, but you know.
Yeah, but like also Japanese voice acting is it has so many different like rules and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
regulations and stuff.
It's a mess.
And like you have to pay for different things. Like if you want somebody to sing, you have to pay for something separate. And if you want to have it just like global distribution or whatever, you have to pay something separate for that. And it's like, okay, I get it. I get it.
I mean, I guess it
Um,
makes it even more surprising that Anju gets a song in this.
I was very surprised by that, honestly, but I'm very happy because it's really good.
Yeah.
It is a very, very good song, even if it's distracting.
I guess one more thing before we dive into more spoiler release stuff. I thought Hawaii was a fun location.
It was
Um,
fun. It's not fun. Sharks.
Sharks are not fun. Segways are fun.
I love the segues.
It's real
I was
fun.
on the segways so much. Um, I kept running into stuff though in the segway sometimes. I was
That
like, oh
sounds like something you would do.
no. But yeah, I very much enjoyed just segueing around a lot, and I loved walking and saying hi to people too. That was
Yeah,
fun.
that was fun.
Aloha.
Aloha. Hey,
Hey. It was fun.
it's real good.
Just getting to know people in Hawaii. But yeah,
Yeah.
Hawaii was a fun location. I enjoyed it. It was a big map. I was kind of surprised how big it was.
I can't wait to come back to it when the next Judgment game comes out.
I was thinking the same thing. Like somehow they're gonna throw us in that, which, you know, there's some references to Judgment in here, but I won't spoil anything. But I can't wait to be in Hawaii for whatever reason in the next Judgment.
That'd be really good and fun.
And I mean, watching you play it because I won't be able to play it.
Yeah. But yeah. Let's talk about spoilers. So this is your spoiler warning. Get out of here. If you haven't
Leave if you don't want to be
if you don't want to be
spoiled,
spoiled, get out of here.
but come back after you've played it.
Non-spoiler, you get out.
Get out.
Oh boy, there's a lot to talk about this game. This game is very long. We're not going to hit all the beats because we would be here
Nope.
for
Ever.
forever. And I don't think you want to be here forever. You have work tomorrow. You would be very asleep.
Very asleep. It's almost 8 o'clock and I'm almost very asleep.
That's
So,
true.
but
Man,
yeah, I don't want to be here forever.
I don't think going into this game I was expecting this game to have such a critique on influencers
Ah, yeah,
and American culture.
yeah,
This game hates influencers.
yeah. It does.
Like holy. I mean, to be
Yeah,
fair, it's like it's influencers in the way of like people who are trying to be kind of like citizen journalists
right.
and who just want to get like headlines out there, clickbaity type stuff, and don't really want to go through the notion of like doing actual research, doing actual journalism to like get sources, get facts, and all that stuff. It's just like it's a lot of sensationalism that these people are putting out there, and that's kind of what this game is really critiquing in a way.
Hmm.
And yeah, I just was not expecting that to be a major case of this video game.
No, I wasn't either. Like, oh, hey, or just like, a critique of blind consumption of media.
Mm-hmm.
Which like, hey, we talk about it a lot. You can still like stuff and be critical of it, but like there's the whole thing about like how people just consume whatever they want, but then they don't actually like pay any attention to the consequences of it or why it matters. Um, if there are any contradictions, because like there's a hell of a contradiction at one point with like how the influencer situation works. And they're just like, yeah, because people just want whatever's popular right now and they don't care because they just listen to what this person says and
Mm-hmm.
that's it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, I mean, you're not wrong. Wowza. Intense.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Hmm.
And then you get like these interesting critiques of American culture of like cops being, very shady and everything.
Ooh.
The
ACAB.
ease of people getting into cults. Obviously, cults exist everywhere, but
Mm.
um, there's something about American cults, obviously, but but this is obviously a much more like it's a religious cult and everything. So
Hmm.
that certainly is something that you can easily find in America for sure. It will never not be funny when you fight a cop and there's a boss fight where you fight a cop in this game and he has a skill called Thin Blue Line.
Yep.
It's never not funny.
Never not funny. Damn.
Oh man,
Man, that cop had a bad time though.
he sure did.
He had a bad day.
He had a bad day.
Um, I also have to mention this is not related to anything plot wise, but the fact that they had his name's Richardson, right?
Andre
The
Richardson,
bar the bartender.
the rough man from. So this is the guy from Yakuza 3. He looks a lot like Albert Wesker. He speaks
Yes.
English. He's basically just a hitman you fight at the end of the game, and then he falls off a roof, or excuse me, a rough.
Yeah. A rough. Because Daigo's on the rough.
Yeah, and then he shows up here as the bartender for Revolve.
And in the English dub says rough
That's
specifically
very
twice.
good. Very
Like,
good.
in the whole sequence where he's like explaining, oh, I fell off the rough once. And I was like, Or like I think it's like very, very, very early on when you're in the bar and he's like, yeah, you can go to the roof. I was like, I see you.
I was surprised how like goofy they made his character.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, obviously, like there wasn't a whole lot to work with from the previous game, but like,
He had like what, 10 lines?
yeah, he's just a dude. But then in this, there's like, yeah, he's just this weird bartender.
He's just a weird guy.
Yep, which is good. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, they do a lot with like characters like that. Like Sonhee, we get to interact with a lot more, and she's just a weirdo.
She's so weird. And also she gives us more like backstory on Jungi Han and or like this version of Jungi Han. And
Hmm.
he's also just a weirdo. Like we knew he was weird, but he's just like an absolute gremlin of a man.
They're both just weirdos, and it's very good.
And I love that they like play off of each other and I guess bond over their
Yeah,
weirdness.
it,
Um,
so good.
because like I very much get the vibe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like I very, very much got the vibe that despite the fact that he's like her subordinate, they feel like best friends.
Yeah,
Like that's the
they're
vibe I got that
bros.
they're so bros, and she was like, oh man, that little scamp Jungi Han. It's like, oh my God.
All the while, she's trying not to like fangirl in front of Kiryu.
Right, right. Her and Jason would get along very
They would
well.
get along so well.
They'd be like, oh my God, look at him. Think we can get some karaoke with him? Come on.
But yeah, it's some interesting stuff there. I also like, like we get. So I was also not expecting, even though like they kind of shown this and everything, but like I was not expecting this game to be like a deuteragonist situation where you play as
Right.
both Ichiban and Kiryu, and like
The split.
the cover of the game is very much showing here is the split, here is the party members you have for this character, here is the party members you have for this character.
I had no idea until
And
I got to that part and I was like,
I was
oh,
like, oh, of course, this makes sense now.
yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like Kiryu's group of people is like just it's just Ichiban's pals, but they hang around with Kiryu. But like it all works because like it's just a bunch of different personalities that play off Kiryu, and Kiryu's just
Hmm.
the very stoic personality and everything. So like he can kind of bounce off of whatever. But it all managed to work out and everything, and they have to teach Kiryu the value of friendship.
Basically, yeah. I mean, like that's kind of a plot point is like we have to teach Kiryu the power of friendship. Also, Kiryu as a wingman is
He's
brilliant.
really good.
It's so good.
He's like, I got you,
It's like
Ichiban. Don't worry.
he was doing his best, man. He's like, all right, Ichi, you really this up. Like I understand you were trying very hard to. Speaking of Ichi, I think Ichiban just fell out the window. Hope
God.
he's okay. Hope he's okay. Um, yeah, Ichiban like royally f***ed it up, and he had the best intentions. He really did. He just was terrible at explaining how he felt and why he felt that way, and just worked it up. But Kiryu's like, all right, buddy, I got you. I can help you with
I'll put
this.
in some good words for you.
Put in some good words. Um, Although it's like at one point Kiryu was talking about how he proposed to somebody. I was trying to figure out like who the hell did he actually propose to?
I mean, bought that ring for Yumi.
But he didn't propose to her.
I
Like
don't
he never
know.
actually said that he loved her to her.
Question mark, question mark, question mark.
But he said that like that's what he said. It was like, huh, who did you propose to, my guy? Hmm, mystery.
True mystery.
Um, but yeah, the wingman Kiryu was really good.
It's really good. Playing as Kiryu in this game is also really fun because he's just very powerful, and then you can also just like break out and just play as the original games Kiryu and just like make him into a brawler, and that's really fun and goofy.
Oh my God. And then that one boss fight with him. Oh man, did it.
Of course, you're talking about the Chapter 12 boss fight.
Yes.
So the context of this, of course, there's Kiryu's got to go. He's got to go talk to his pals, and by
The
pals I
boys.
mean the boys. He's got to go find Daigo, Majima, and Saejima because things are
Hmm.
happening in the story, and he needs their help. And they've basically kind of gone off the radar since their security company went under and everything. So they're all just like in the middle of nowhere being
Fishing.
fishermen. And you
Samajin was just sleeping in the living
he's
room
just
for some
sleeping in the living
reason.
room, and you open the door, and he's like, "God, can a guy sleep in peace? It's cold." And he just looks up, he's like, "Oh, hey, what's up? You're
Oh,
old. You're
hey,
looking old.
you're looking rough,
Looking
buddy.
rough." He's like, "Oh, yes, hello, Majima. Majima-san, of course, hello." So yeah, you get to see the boys, and they get to all have a little chit chat. It'd be sad. It's real sad boy hours for the boys.
Big time sad boy hours. Oh my God.
And then Kiryu basically just like it's like, wow, I can't believe you guys are just like so pathetic nowadays. I'm out of here.
You losers. I don't
See
even
you
want to talk to you
later. And
anymore.
Majima's just like, you fing what? Excuse me?
Although Majima being like, "Hey, bud, let's drink," and then I think it was Daigo was like, "Don't do that right now. Like, you know his condition."
I'm gonna go.
Majima,
I'm gonna go to the hospital real quick. And like Excitement's like, bro, come on.
Majima at one point though was like, "Even more of a reason for us to drink then. Like,
Yeah.
come on."
But
Oh
yeah,
my God.
Kiryu just goads these three into a fight with him and his pals now, and then there's a great moment in this fight where
The power
like
of friendship.
obviously the power of friendship happens, but like once you get them low enough, you break out and then you
Hmm.
just fight them like it's like the previous Yakuza games. It just turns to a brawler, and there's like these scenes of like images, like memories of the past with you and this character circling around
Hmm.
you as you fight them, and it's so good.
It's so cool. And like right before they do like a move where it like shows the like back tattoo that they
Hmm.
have. It's like, oh, this rules. This is such a cool fight.
It was incredible.
It was so good.
Got to see Daigo's puffy jacket again.
Yeah. They should have given Daigo a puppy jacket since he was a fisherman.
They really should have.
They should have. Instead, he got like a semi mullet,
And just a regular jacket.
just a regular jacket. Meh. Um, Side note, Majima at this point is like damn near 60 years old, if not over 60 at this point, right?
Yes, yeah, probably. Him and Kiryu are like around the same age.
This is like the hottest he's looked since Zero.
Just
And
disheveled.
the bad thing is he's like a hobo.
Disheveled
And I'm
man.
and I'm like, why do I find hobo Majima so attractive? What is wrong with me?
It's this facial hair, of course.
Well, I mean, he always has facial
Well, it's
hair.
even more because like he's just not caring for it.
Yeah, I am. I'm kind of sad they didn't let him grow his hair
I
out
think
though.
they should have let him grow his hair out.
He still had the weird
Who
bowl
is
cut
who is
thing.
cutting his hair into the bowl cut here? Is it Daigo or is it Saejima?
It's got to be
I
Saejima.
mean, Saejima is at least growing his hair out a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Let Mushroom have hair.
Daigo's got
Come on.
facial hair.
Yeah, he does.
Uh,
They're just going through it, man.
they're real sad. Sad boy hours for
Real
sure.
sad boy hours. But yeah, Kiryu's like, you scrubs, you babies, you children, you losers.
Oh, that fight
I'm out
ruled.
of here. With his cool pea coat.
Oh, his Pico was so good. And then also, like,
It's so
we
good.
didn't get that as a costume. We didn't get him in his bucket hat as a costume.
I wanted the bucket hat so
Very
bad.
disappointing. But yeah, his Pico was very good.
Mm-hmm.
Very good look for him.
Very good look. That was such a good look.
Mm-hmm. I think like the bulk of the Kiryu stuff is interesting because like the bucket list stuff is just I mean obviously the bulk of the story is that Kiryu's dying. He's got cancer. He refuses to go get treatment because he's like, well, the Daidoji looked into it and it's not good, so why bother? Who cares? And
Yeah.
everyone's being like, what do you mean? What? Who cares? Like, you gotta live your life, dude. People care about you. They didn't want you to just die, bruh.
Bruh.
So like Nanba and the gang make him make this bucket list of like, oh, go do things you want to do and everything. So like that becomes kind of like Kiryu's main hook of like his gameplay mechanic and all that sort of stuff. And you go around to places, you have little sub stories here and there where you talk to people and you meet old familiar faces and everything. But a lot of it's kind of like, let me reminisce about this thing and then I'll tie it into this other game that I was in.
Yeah.
And I was really surprised how they really encompass the entirety of the games. Like,
The Kiryu saga,
yeah,
yeah.
like most of it obviously is stuff from 0, 1, 2, and 6.
Mm-hmm.
But then you get stuff like, oh, remember Ricky from 3? He got that snake tattoo and everything. Here's the orphanage from 3. Remember when I was a wrestler in 3? Remember the cop from 4? Yeah, well, no, he kind of sucked, but hey, he's here. Remember him? He was a thing. Remember our baseball friend from 5? He was a
Mm-hmm.
dude.
He was a
He
dude.
was a
Remember our
dude.
taxi driver friend?
God, I did not expect him to bring the taxi man from 5 back
I
as an
didn't
actual
either.
character you get to meet up with. Because there's also a part of this where Date returns and you get to hang out with Date a lot. He's like, I'm going to go find some friends of yours and we're going to have you be in the same room as them essentially and hear them so you can like have one last hurrah with them, kind of.
Right, which I mean, like his motive obviously is to convince Kiryu to actually like do
Keep
the
living.
treatment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, they bring back the owner of the taxi stand in 5, which is wild. I really
Mm-hmm.
I really like the taxi stuff in 5. It's really good, and then like that taxi minigame's very good as well. But yeah, I was not expecting that. They brought back 2 of the boys from 6.
Mm-hmm.
I was very disappointed it wasn't the main dude because I liked him, but I'm guessing it's probably just like
Yeah,
a licensing issue type deal.
I figured that too.
Um,
Although they did show him in a flashback.
they did, yeah. They also showed the other dude in the flashback, the
Mm-hmm.
one who is with Haruka.
Right.
Um, you got to see the Stardust Boys again.
Oh man, I was so jazzed to see the
They're
Stardust
older
Boys
now.
again. They are, but they're still just the same.
They got fangirls still, but yeah, they're still just the boys.
The boys.
This is real good. The doctor from Kamurocho. I was like, I completely forgot you were a character, but like you were a thing in the
Yep.
early games. Wow.
Yep. Yep.
This is
I'm
the
surprised they
thing.
didn't bring that to Flores at all.
Yeah, I wonder.
But again, that may have been like wasn't he like a wrestler character?
He was, but I don't think like his design was based off
It wasn't
of
like a likeness character.
right. I need to see if he's actually still alive. That could also be a thing.
That might be part of it, yeah. Ooh, I didn't think about that.
Because I don't know if he is or not. Um, but yeah, you see that doctor guy was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Lao
The
Ka
Onimichio
Long.
girl.
The Onimichio girl was so good.
It was so good.
Oh, that was a very emotional one for me because I was like, because like they were talking and like oh blah blah blah, here's this girl and everything and blah blah blah. Oh yeah, I love Onimichio. I was like, is this the girl who was like sick and you had to go cheer her up to go get surgery? And it turns out it is.
It is. And so like you're basically doing like the opposite thing here of like we're trying to get Kiryu to actually go get treatment. And Kiryu did that for her to make her like be okay, and she's fine now, and she's like trying to be a doctor.
I was like,
It was good.
man, that was really good.
And the pocket fighter.
Oh, Pocket Fighter comes back. It's really good.
He's the president now.
He's like, here, you called me his friend.
His friend.
Uh, I I was very happy that we got the gals from 0 and 2, the cabaret club girls back.
Yes,
That
yes.
was very good. Also, this
Very
also
good.
brings up a point that they do not know how to age up women in this game at all.
No, they absolutely do not.
They just look the exact same.
The exact same.
But yeah, Yuki and Koyuki show up again. Yuki's got her own restaurant that's failing. Koyuki's trying to bring Forshine to Kamurocho. We got to bring them back together to do the
Yep.
opening. Saigo shows up and she's like, "Oh my god, I read your book, Yuki. It was amazing. It helped me so much." And Yuki's like, "Huh? Yeah, cool." And Kira's like, "You wrote a book?"
You wrote a book?
Also, they have the Kiryu statue in the Forshine.
Yeah, they do.
And they do the pose together. Oh, it's so
They
good.
do. It's so good.
Oh man.
But yeah, basically like women are either like in their 20s or they're ancient. There is no in between.
Yeah.
Same situation with Kaoru.
I was surprised they brought her back.
Same.
Again, she looks the exact same. But then she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm just, just hoping Kiryu comes back at some point." Like, girl, you literally left him in 3, and then immediately started dating an American cop. Like, bro, what
An
are you
American
talking
cop.
about?
Well, and she even says like, "Oh, I've been loyal." I'm like,
I don't know about
girl.
that.
Well, how's that American cop, man? How's he doing?
Hmm.
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 Uh.
So yeah, her saying she was loyal, I was like, off.
Akiyama shows up again, which is very nice.
Yes, my boy.
It's really good. I'm glad he got to come back and have some closure because he was very sad in 6 when at the end of that game when Date would not tell him what was happening.
Yeah, and he's like, did you think I was dumb? I knew. What? Just tell me the truth. I'm gonna punch you now.
I'm gonna fight y'all.
Good for him,
Do my cool
honestly.
kicks. Haruka got a
I was kind of
haircut.
sad that Hana was not brought up
They
though.
should have brought her back as well. That would have been very good.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, if all a woman," I was like, "But what about Hana?" Yeah, Haruka got a haircut.
She just looks like
Haruto
her
got big.
ma'am. Haruto's big now, even though he's probably like 8. But I guess
He's 8.
Haruka's short. He's probably about he's gonna get there at some point. But yeah, she's got her haircut and everything.
She just looked like her
She
ma'am.
looked like Yumi. They really teased us with the Haruka Kiryu
Oh, they did.
stuff there. Real rude.
Big time.
So I really enjoyed all that stuff with Kiryu because it was a very good just like way to like because you don't know if by the end of it if they're going to like actually kill him off or do
Right.
what with him, but like it was definitely a good way because I think either regardless of what happened to him at the end of the game, it's a good like let's just give this character a lot of good reminiscing memories and like this is a way to give him that ride off into the sunset that he deserves.
Yeah. Also another like I guess cute moment with these was when oh shoot, his kid from the firefighter kid.
Taichi.
He catches the fist.
Yeah, just like Kiryu.
Just like Kiryu is like, "Oh,
And like
look at him go."
and like he like after that he's just like, man, these kids are really good. And they're like, and Dante's like, yeah, they all just like look up to you. Like they all like they look to you in times of like hardship and everything. And like when he's gonna go meet Haruka and he doesn't, like she's like, yeah, if he was back, I don't know if I would want to meet him because I don't know if I'm ready for that. I don't know if I can. If we're at that point yet,
Like
we're like,
I don't want to be a disappointment.
I don't want to be disappointed. I don't want to have to like constantly rely on him, essentially type deal. And he's like, kid, you're much stronger than I am now.
Yep.
Which is real good. There's also the good conversation he has with Kashiwagi.
Yes. Oh my
Survive.
God. I got a little misty-eyed on that
Mhm.
part.
I was very excited when like they were like, "Oh, we're gonna go to Survive" and everything. I was like, "Oh, we're gonna see Kashiwagi." And they have
Mhm.
the moment of like, "Oh, we know each other, but we can't say we know each other." And I was like,
Mhm.
I'm happy, but I'm not.
Yep. Yep. It hurt. And like Kiryu basically was like, yeah, you remind me of my brother, and like does the like full bow and everything. It was like, wow. And then like there's a little story later of him being like, once you obtain your name again, you can come back and I'll give you a drink.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh,
It's really good.
very good.
But yeah, I really enjoyed the Kiryu stuff of the story. I think they really did a good job. I liked, like he said, like we said, his interactions with like Namba, Sonhee, Psycho, and Chao. It's a
Hmm.
very interesting cast of characters, but they really work well with him and everything, and like help give him like the eventual push he needs and all that sort of stuff. But
Right.
all that stuff was really good, really fun. I was kind of surprised that the Daidoji stuff was kind of like downplayed in this as much as it was.
Yeah, and I mean that may have been because like Gaiden was actually made like during slash after.
Yeah,
Like the Daidoji kind of felt like they were,
an afterthought.
yeah, and just not as powerful as like they've been made out to be.
Yeah,
Um, like Hanawa going out the way he did.
was interesting.
Yeah, I was like,
And
whoa. What?
you don't get to find the mystery behind him at all. He's just dead.
Mm-mm. He's just dead.
And there's a
It's
very
wild.
interesting dichotomy between like the way they act in like the bucket list story, and then by the end of the game
Hmm.
how they act,
Yeah.
which I
Yeah, it's very weird.
because they don't really like explain what really happens, because like they're obviously like, yeah, hey, you've been causing a ruckus, like everyone kind of knows you're alive again, but also like, hey, you're doing a good job and we're gonna help you finish this mission you're on.
Right.
And then obviously by the end of the game you find out they give him his name back, so like I guess he's done with them.
And I wonder if part of that has to do with like the VTuber exposure
Yeah,
thing,
that,
but
but they never really explain
but
like
they never explain it.
how we get from A to B there. It's just like, hey, he's got his name back, so I guess he's done with them? Question mark.
Yeah, I mean like especially after that last story with Date, I was like, how are they gonna free him from this?
I mean, I guess
And then I
it
guess
maybe also be a thing of like they talk about like Hanawa's like last like report and how he like gives them like such a like glowing thoughts and opinions about
mhm.
them and everything that they realize kind of like, hey, these guys are very good at their job, they know what they're doing and everything, but also like Kiryu's old and dying. Maybe this is if he can complete this last mission. We'll free our contract from him essentially, and
Yeah,
he does the job clearly. So,
he does.
but it was a little kind of just like out of the blue and like not really explained well. But hey, I will take it at the end of the day because he's Kiryu again, and he gets to hang out with all his friends. He gets to hang out with Haruka and everything, and it's real nice.
And Haruto.
And I did like how the trophy title for that ending is like the man who regained his name, playing off of
I
Gaiden.
I
It's
cried when
really
that
good.
popped. Cried when that popped. I mean, you were there, you heard
Hmm.
me.
Although I still don't. Him going back to his original look, but with the gray hair, just very weird looking.
That didn't work for me.
It's very odd.
It didn't work for me with him in the white suit and the pushback hair and everything. I was like, mm-mm.
Although him in the suit was good.
In the
Just
white suit?
well, in like the original suit, like his OG look, but like in the
Yeah, if he had just worn the suit, I would have been fine. But
just
like
the
the hair
hair is
pushed back
the
and
hair is the
everything,
thing
it's
that really
like
like messes with me.
I was like, you're not pulling that look off, man.
But yeah,
Um,
he gets treatment and everything. He's gonna keep fighting because that's what
yeah, he
Kiryu
looks like
does.
by the end,
He
but
does,
like
but like he's probably taking chemo and stuff, so like he's not
no,
doing great. But
I've seen all that in action. I know
yeah,
how it goes. Like that's normal, but he does, he ends it by saying who he is, and
and there
you get to
it
see that
yeah
his name's there.
it really this is the send off they really the character deserved. Like
Yeah.
not how it ended up in 6 and everything, not how it ended in Gaiden and everything, but like or even in 7. But like this is the send off this character truly deserved.
Also, Haruto calls him Grandpa.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, Grandpa. It's true. You are grandpa.
You are grandpa.
You are grandpa.
It's very happy for him.
I was. Speaking of people I was happy for, um, this is gonna sound really weird, but bear with me. Um, Ichiban goes through it. And there are some things on Ichiban's side of the story. Not you. On
Me?
Ichiban's side, you. Ichiban's side of the story that like I think could have been done better. But one of the things that I thought was done so well, and I think based on what I've seen on the internet, a lot of people had kind of missed the point, which sucks because like it made sense to me. Um, is that he has since seven felt like he like didn't do everything he could for Ryo Aoki, is that his name?
Yeah,
His brother.
his brother.
His brother. And so he's still mourning that. He's still feeling sad about that. And you know, he didn't really get closure with that situation because he got shanked in front of him
It
and
was ripped
died.
apart, ripped away from him in a
Yeah.
gratuitous fashion.
Yeah, and so the whole thing there was that he was telling him like, "Hey, you know, you did some bad things, but like you can repent. Like, let's go turn yourself in and it'll be all right." And then he gets ripped away from him. So the end of this game with AG,
Mm-hmm.
where he like literally takes him there to turn himself in and like doesn't actually give up on it until he sees him go in there. Like to the point where he's like getting beat up and getting thrown at him and all that. Like he, we know that he sees a little bit of Aoki in Eiji, even though like that was purposeful on Eiji's part. It was a a thing that he was using to manipulate Ichiban.
Mm-hmm.
But we know that he sees some of that in there. And so like this was his chance at self-redemption there to make sure that, like this guy did something wrong. I want to be there for him, and I'm going to make sure he actually gets there this time,
Yeah.
no matter what it takes. If getting beamed with a bottle by the end of it. Um, but I think a lot of people miss that for some reason. Because like I was seeing like reactions to it with people being like really mad about it and saying like how he's like so naive and it doesn't make any sense. I was like, no, it makes perfect sense. Like he didn't get to go with his brother who was killed in front of him. He was gonna make damn sure that this dude was not gonna get killed no matter what it took.
And also, like,
And like
one
he
of
doesn't find people irredeemable.
yeah, one of the major themes of this game is like letting people pay for their crimes, but also
Atonement.
have that chance of redemption and atonement. Essentially, like it's with Eiji, it's with Ebina. You know, it's on both sides there.
Chitose?
Chitose. Like, there's a lot of that in this game. Like, that's a very central theme of this video game.
Right.
So,
Um
the shark,
a shark.
the giant squid.
Sharks are irredeemable. Thank you for getting me through that, by the way.
Hey, I got you.
Both of the shark battles. Um, but yeah, I felt like that was a really like good moment for Ichiban to have some of that closure there.
Yeah, of course.
Um, and you know, I've seen people say like, "Oh, well, they butchered him because like he just trusts everybody blindly." It's like, no, that's not what's happening here. Like he does forgive very easily. That is true,
But
100%.
he also believes in like letting people get a second chance in life. Like, obviously, if he didn't, he wouldn't have been doing the job he was doing at the very beginning of the game.
Right, right. Like that's the whole point here is that he believes in second chances and he believes in like giving people a shot at doing what he feels like is like the right thing. Like he doesn't find people forever irredeemable.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean like it's admirable. Is it naive at times? Yeah, it totally is. But like I don't think that that's a bad character trait on his part, and I don't think it's some kind of character assassination or something different than how he was in Seven, because he would have done the same damn thing in Seven.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
He literally does.
he literally does. Like that's who he is, and like he's still very protective of the people he cares about. That's not different. So, yeah, I don't know. I think the one thing about Ichiban's side of the story that I think falls a little bit flat is the whole like Bryce thing.
In what
Because
manner?
like, well, for one, I'm salty that we didn't get any kind of real like resolution with his mom situation. Like after the fight with Bryce, his mom just disappears, Lonnie disappears, none of that matters
No, they. I mean,
anymore. Like,
they go back to Hawaii. They're gonna run that place.
well, I know, but like we get the scene at the beach with him, and that's like really all we get with him. But
I mean,
like
I think though it like it's still a very awkward situation of like these people have never seen each other in like it's been 40
no,
plus
that's true.
years. So like
That's true.
I don't think you're gonna make this kind of relationship overnight. It's gonna take time and everything, and like it's going to take effort on both parts, but also like they have very different things that they are doing in their lives. So like it's not just necessarily going to be like, oh, we're a mother son relationship now type deal. So
No, and I mean he did the thing that he meant to do, which was come and give
yeah,
the ashes over. That's what he wanted to do. That he did that.
I think it's going to be a thing
And
of like they'll keep in touch and everything, and like they'll do that sort of deal, but like it's going to be a very awkward kind of weird relationship for a while probably, but like they will support each other in their various means and whatever they're doing.
well, and it's mentioned several times, like if she is actually your mom, which like it's 99% certain that that is his mother.
Yeah.
But like they do clarify a few times, like if she is, and like I get that, I get that. Like I don't know, do a DNA test.
It's like no
Um,
DNA test.
no DNA test. Um, I hope that you know her and Lonnie don't make a horrible cult situation.
I would
So,
assume they probably aren't, but
you know, um, I I I think my complaint with Bryce is just that like he didn't feel as like what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say threatening because like having a bunch of nuclear waste improperly stored in the middle of the ocean is pretty threatening in a very terrible way. No wonder there's a giant mutant shark. You got nuclear waste chilling in the water.
I mean, he's not necessarily threatening the way that like he's not a dude who runs a yakuza. He's not a
No,
dude who
no,
runs like
no.
that, but like he's a big slime ball who like has
Hmm.
become so enamored with himself and thinks of himself as a god and that type stuff. Like again, it's definitely a critique of like stuff that happens in American culture type deal, I think. And like
Yeah, yeah.
it's a different kind of villain, but like I still thought he was like a decent villain, like because like he's just such a slime ball and he keeps getting away with that he shouldn't be able to get away with. But like, he's a charismatic leader of a cult, so of course he's able to like skeeve his way out of these situations and everything. And it literally doesn't take until you like have to beat it out of him and like make it so he doesn't kill himself that he's able to finally
Hmm.
see justice and everything. Like you literally have to turn the tables on him in such a way that like it makes things realistic for him that he's lost essentially.
Yeah. I did appreciate that when Ichiban like grabs him and is making sure that he doesn't fall in, at least in the English version, he's like, I am not gonna have to clean this stuff up and look at your like nasty rotten
Yeah,
corpse
yeah,
out in the water.
it's
Like
very
I'm not
good.
doing that. So you're coming up whether you like it or not. It's like, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Um, yeah, I could see that. I think I just want him to hit harder. I don't know.
I mean,
Not
it's fair.
literally, um, because he definitely threw a lot of boys at you.
More boys are coming.
More boys are coming. Um, Also Wong To just died really easily.
He sure did.
My God, that man died
To
really
be
easily.
fair, I mean, he had already gotten shot and everything, so like,
I know.
He
He's
wasn't
just
doing well, but then he just gets shot again. And it's like, all right, I'm done.
yeah, but I
Rip in
wonder what
peace.
happened to his kid by the end.
Well, yeah, I guess they got him out, but then they just never mentioned him again.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay. Um, but yeah, I think that a lot of the like redemption side of Ichiban stuff is done really, really well. And I mean, he basically has a whole crew of people who are like they've done some kind of thing that they needed redemption from. Like
hmm
Chitose kind of us over a little bit
Tomizawa
a few
tried to rob
times
us and ate a piece of paper in front of us.
and tried to shoot
Tried to
us.
shoot us. Never forget he ate that piece of paper.
Never forget that man out that piece of paper at some point with the address on it, and he just has to live with that. Um, eating the paper that was wild. Um, I mean Adachi, he had his soul stuff last time. Um, Juihan just was sad that he didn't get to hang out with Kiryu and everybody, so he's like, you know what, I'm just gonna fly to Hawaii without
Well, if
telling
you guys are going to
anybody.
have this fun, I'm going to Hawaii.
Funny. Not that that's in need of redemption or anything, but like it was really good.
It's really good. Um,
But yeah, like your main crew, like and even what's his face? Um Creeper Man, Cold.
Yamai
Yamai.
are
Like
the low key best character, best new character in this game.
Yamai was so good.
So good.
Why did I like Yamai so
Oh
much?
man, like it's so interesting because like you beat him and he's just like, oh, this is just gonna be another Yakuza dude. He's a little weird because like he just bundles up in layers in Hawaii and all
In
things. And
Hawaii?
he's like cold, but then like you get like all this backstory on him, and then like you learn kind of like Ichiban really starts to relate to him. He's like, yeah, you and me, we're kind of the same, and he's like, no,
No.
no, and then
No, we're
Ichiban's like,
not.
yeah, yeah, and just like,
Ichiban does an Ichiban on
yep,
him and worms his way into Yamai's heart, and
mm-hmm.
Yamai's like, ah, guess we're friends now. Guess I'm gonna help you get to Japan now.
Guess I'm not gonna kill this old lady in front of y'all. Because she's
Ugh.
just sad and doesn't remember anything.
Alzheimer's.
Because I got taken advantage of because I was a little green kid in the Yakuza.
Oh man. But yeah, he was such a good
So
character.
good, man. I was, like I said, I think both of us were thinking when he first showed up, like, this guy, whatever, he's just a weirdo. But then, like, by the end of it, like, oh my god, this guy's amazing. Never would have expected
Ma
this guy.
Him giving that lady his coat and then walking out and like basically being like, "Oh, I'm not cold anymore." I was like, "Oh,
hmm
this is so good."
Also, like I said earlier, when like the dude who plays him, he voices Dio and everything. He does such an amazing job voicing Yamai. Like he makes Yamai sound so creepy. It's so good. It fits the character so well.
I really liked
Yeah.
TMI. Um, I did think it was weird that they left Kiryu in the middle of the burning forest at one point. Because they could have just opened the car door and brought him
Yeah,
in,
but
but they
Kiryu's
didn't.
stubborn. He's like, I'll be fine. And then Yamai's just another guy who just, he's a Kiryu fan.
He's a Kiryu fan, and he like, gets a doctor and takes care of him and everything. He doesn't like. I do appreciate that one boss fight where like all he does is attack Kiryu. He will not
hmm
focus on anybody else. It's like in Final Fantasy VII where Rude refuses to actually hit Tifa
Yeah.
because he has a crush on Tifa. Like this is the opposite of that, where Yamai's like, I'm going to only hit Kiryu because I have a crush on Kiryu.
Yeah, like the whole thing is like Yamai just really wants to fight Kiryu because like he obviously, he's a Yakuza from Japan and from Kamurocho and everything. Like, everyone knows Kiryu. They know the legend of him. They, like, everyone has this reverence for him. So, like, he finally gets to, like, put his skills up to the test. And, like, Kiryu in this state is not Kiryu. And he's kind of
No,
disappointed in that. But at the same time, he's like, this guy, like, I respect this guy way too much to let him just die in the middle of a forest and, like, of whatever's wrong with him. Like I'm gonna take him, but we're gonna fix him up. We're gonna try and make him okay, just keep him alive. And when those other chuckleheads come, well, they can have him, whatever.
Yeah.
And like that begins the alliance between him and Ichiban.
It's so good.
Wow, indeed.
Wow, indeed. There was one other thing I wanted to mention. What was it? Was it about Yamai? Oh, no, I wanted to talk about Kiryu's cancer for a second.
Yes.
The nuclear waste story was weird.
It was weird. I get why they did it though, because they wanted to tie it into the whole
Yep.
the stuff by the end of the game where like, Polyhana and Ebina are trying to offshore nuclear waste storage, all that sort of stuff. But at the same time,
this is gonna happen to many people.
Yeah, but also like, you could have just said he smokes.
A lot.
And that's how he got it. But I get why they were like, we want to tie this into this type of deal. At first, it makes zero sense.
0 sense.
But by the end of it, it's like, I guess. But also, like, you could have probably done this a little bit better. But,
Yeah.
I understand why you did it.
It was wild. It was really wild.
Yeah.
I also do want to give credit if we're talking about like people who did a good job with the voice acting. Alex Lee, holy dude. Alex Lee as Eiji is incredible.
Does Eiji in English say bon voyage to Ichiban a lot?
No, he says a phrase in Hawaiian to him.
Oh, interesting. Because in Japanese, the phrase is bon voyage, and Ichiban's like, bon voy... What?
I think it's like Oeho or something like that.
Ah, interesting.
It's like specifically a Hawaiian phrase.
I didn't know if they would have kept that or not between the two dubs, but yeah.
But yeah, he is so good with like the two versions of Eiji, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Alex Lee is a really good voice actor. Like,
yeah,
you and I both know that. And we're playing Persona 3 right now, where he plays multiple characters, and it's just like, Jesus Christ, dude, your range is wild. But he knocked it out of the damn park as Eiji. And I wasn't sure what to expect. Because all he's been doing about this character on Twitter is memeing about it.
That sounds about right.
It's very Alex Lee. But like he did an incredible job. Like that whole scene with the like wheelchair and the bomb.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was legitimately like creeped out by the way that he was acting in that. It was intense. Yeah, good job, Alex Lee. I had a dream about him the other day.
Great.
Yeah, it's like hanging out with Alex Lee. I was like, sure, all right, why not? Yep. Also, once again, sharks. You know what's great though? Giant squids.
Giant squids.
Giant squids.
Yeah, that giant squid boss fight is very dumb and good.
It's really dumb and it's really good. Also, there's many forms of fishing in this game.
Yeah, there is.
Mm-hmm.
There really is. I will say I wanted to bring this up because I thought it was goofy and kind of silly that I figured it out via this. I figured out that the VTuber was Anju very early.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because I was listening to them speak and everything, and I was just like, this just sounds like Anju's annotations and everything. Huh. That's interesting. And then the reveal comes up. I was like, oh, hey, I got it right. Like, obviously, it's Anju with like a higher pitched voice and everything, but like, it's just the way the way that the character spoke and everything, I was like, that just definitely sounds like the way Anju speaks.
But like we've heard Anju speak in so many different like tones and different ways that like we're so used to her voice. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So I thought that was interesting.
It's really funny.
It's a really funny way to figure out who a character is.
I do wonder why she still had access to login at the end, but
maybe they weren't smart enough to change the password.
I mean, do you think AG wouldn't change? I don't
I mean,
know.
he's cocky. He was by that point he was very cocky and thought he had control of everything. So
He won, yeah. Um, so I mentioned a minute ago that Alex Lee was in this, but also in Persona 3. Um, the actress who played Chitose is Susie Young,
mhm.
who was Chitose. She's in Persona 3 as Fuka.
The bazooka.
She's she's also in Final Fantasy 7 as Yuffie, so she's in the big
Oh
three.
yeah, you guess you were right. She is in the big three.
She is the trifecta of like big RPGs.
She is getting the paychecks this in this 30-day period.
Yeah, she is. So it's just like, whoa, look at you go. Good for you. Thought that was funny.
Yeah, I like how her Wikipedia page is like 2024 is just these 3 games.
These 3 games, that's it.
There you go.
Nice. Good for her, honestly.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like I said, I mean, we kind of probably could have mentioned this earlier in the general stuff, but like we mentioned how this game took us about 100 hours for both of us to get through it.
Hmm.
Didn't really ever feel like it was like dragging or anything. Didn't feel like I was like,
Oh
it,
no, I was super into it.
it was long for the sake of being long, like some games have been who have been this long before.
Hey,
Um,
looking at you, Persona 5.
yeah. Everything felt engaging. Like I think there's enough side stuff that it keeps you involved and like you can bounce back between both the main
Hmm.
story and the side content. I don't know what I was about to say
Hmm.
side conquest. Um, the side content and everything. So like it keeps everything feeling fresh and everything and just like it is a long story. Do not get me wrong. It is a long story, but given that it is a Deuterac in a situation and everything and these are 2 character stories that they kind of have to tell. It is like you were getting 2 games in one, essentially, with how the
Right,
way the
yeah.
story is and everything. So, I was kind of worried when they said early on of like, "Hey, this game's going to be very long. It's probably the longest game in the series we've made, and there's a lot of stuff to do in this game." I was like, I don't know, is that going to be good or not? Like, how's that going to work? But hey, I think they pulled it off very well.
I agree with you.
I'm glad you agree with me. I was going to say something else. Now I completely just blanked on what I was going to say.
That you want to ride off into the sunset
Womp
on a dolphin.
womp. Yeah, who doesn't want to ride off in the sunset on a dolphin? That's pretty good. What
That's
was I
pretty
going to
good.
say?
I don't
It was going to
know.
be something just anecdotal, but
Heck.
now I just do not remember. Got talking about hours and stuff and just blanked. Blank. I don't know. Maybe it'll come to me at some point. I don't know. By the way, the podcasts are good. I didn't get to listen to all those podcasts, but it's disappointing that the Japanese one you don't get subtitles for. You don't
Yeah,
get
that
subtitles for
sucked.
either of them, which is disappointing. But
Yeah.
the English one seems really dumb and good because I only listened to the first one, unfortunately, because I forgot about it. But I do want to go
Hmm.
back and listen to them. But like the way they just like tie into like, oh yeah, going to Camarocho and everything. I wanted to go to the New York hot dog because everyone talks about it, but I couldn't find the entrance. It's just a very good in joke, and then like they make a friggin' Shenmue reference. It's
Yeah,
like
the Shinmu
this guy just
reference.
kept coming up to me and kept talking about how he wanted to find sailors, and I was like, I gotta get away from this kid. It's very dumb and good.
So
Uh,
funny.
that made me laugh a lot.
It was really, really good. Yeah, I think I only listened to 2 or 3 of them. I did like that I could have like a radio, that I would like play my phone while I was walking
I'm gonna play
around.
this Persona 3 and Persona 4 music on my phone on my walk around when I'm driving on my Segway. Ring
Where did you
ring.
find Persona 4 music?
It's in Ejin Show. It's in a gambling parlor.
Oh, that's why I never found it.
Yeah. It's just I think it's Your Affection and Snowflakes.
Those are really good songs, though.
Yeah. We can get those. It's cool.
Hmm. Hmm.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Hmm. But yeah, hey, this game's pretty dang good.
It's
Long,
very
long
good.
game, but very good game.
Very long, but I enjoyed it quite a lot. I
Yeah,
had a good time, and I named my kitten after
you
Ichiban.
did. So many things are in this game. The boys from Judgment are in this game. Two of the boys from Judgment are in this game, very briefly, but they show up, and I was
Very
like,
briefly.
"Yo,
Yo,
the
the boys!
boys are here!" It is surprising how much they are incorporating the Judgment stuff into mainline
Yeah.
Yakuza
Yeah.
slash Like a Dragon now.
Because they were in Gaiden too.
Yeah, but that's cool. Those
Yeah.
characters are very good, and more people should know about them.
I agree. Hell yeah.
Yeah, yeah. This game is very good.
If you want a game about a bunch of misfit weirdos, here you go.
Yeah, that is true. I will say the one bad thing about this game,
Okay.
the $20 DLC situation.
Yeah, that's not good.
Where you can only get New Game Plus via this DLC.
Not good.
Not a good call, Sega. Bad Sega. Bad.
Bad. No.
No.
No, Sega. Don't do that, Sega.
No.
We see you trying to make money.
Yeah.
Bleh.
But yeah, I really enjoyed this game. It's a very good game. Good send off for Kiryu and everything. Very curious to see where Ichiban and the gang go after this. Where his shirt with "I Love Psycho" on it and "I Love Ichiban" on the back goes after this.
I forgot to mention that. I love that shirt. I want that shirt. I want that shirt.
It's very good.
I
What a
won't wear
dumb
it on
situation.
stream, even though I want to wear it on stream.
What a dumb
But
thing.
I don't want to spoil it. But like, he was doing so well. He was doing so well. And then that
What a goof.
and all his friends were watching him out the window.
They were rooting for him, and then they're like, ah.
You did it again, kid.
But yeah.
It's a good video game.
Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, it is a good video game.
Interested to see where they go from here.
Yeah. 100%.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's gonna do it for us this week. So if you'd like more from us, head on over to seasonalanimeCheckup.com or sac.cool is where you can find past episodes of this podcast and other podcasts like Jared and Now Watch. You can also find columns and reviews on the site as well. If you'd like more from Ann Ladium, go to annladium.com. She's got columns and reviews. You can follow us on Twitter and TikTok at Anime Checkup. You can follow us on Blue Sky at seasonalanimeCheckup.com. You can buy our books, One Shiny Moment, Critical Analysis of Love, Life, Sunshine, Hot Tubs, and Pac-Man on Amazon.com. And you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/SACOVA. Buy us a slice of pizza, get access to unedited versions of the podcast early, monthly Patreon exclusive podcasts, and a wealth of bonus content as well. Next week we'll talk about something else. I don't know.
Like I said, I haven't
Brain
told my game
fried.
that we could talk about maybe, but meh.
We'll figure it out.